Hey movie junkies, welcome back to Twin Flicks, where we're always here celebrating the magic of movies and most importantly physical media with you. But today is another long-awaited release because we only had Red Eye since 2005. And I know so a lot of you out there has been waiting, just like I have, for a Blu-ray release. But we didn't just get a Blu-ray release. Paramount Pictures also released a new 4K restoration from the original 35mm negative, forming a new native 4K DI with the added benefits of both HDR 10 Plus and Dolby Vision grading. Now, I have to mention something before we dive into the review. If you follow me for any amount of time, then you've heard me talk many times on the show, and you've seen me become very annoyed by some so-called reviewers out there giving certain 4K discs a poor review, to the point of even trashing it and telling people to avoid this 4K movie at all costs, when in fact, it's not a bad transfer at all. Instead, the filmmakers have intentionally used different lenses, focuses, filters to give their film a certain aesthetic look. This is visual language. This is how movies are told. And when a film has been given a new restoration with high resolution and all the trimmings like HDR and Dolby Vision, well, that certain aesthetic look comes through even more. It could be a soft focus that's used, causing the image to look soft, or maybe a little bit of blurriness is added in, or different filters, whatever the case may be. And this is also the case here with Red Eye. For example, there are a few scenes where Rachel McAdams bumps or even gets hit in the head. And what Wes Craven and his DP decided to do with these shots was to use different lenses and focuses to evoke how she's feeling to us as the audience. Meaning after she's hit in the head, the image comes up on her being clear and then a little bit blurry or even some softness in there, when the majority of the film doesn't have any of this. And this visual language is used to allow us, the audience, to be put in her shoes, to have a sense of what she's feeling at that moment. And I've seen some reports from other reviewers mistaking this as a bad or terrible transfer from Paramount, when in fact it's the complete opposite. So no, this is absolutely not because of a bad transfer. And if anyone says this or another movie has a bad, terrible transfer where the image looks soft, looks blurry at certain moments, or whatever the case may be, then they just don't understand how filmmaking works, and they just don't know what they're talking about. Now, of course, I'm not saying this is always the case with 4Ks. There have been some bad transfers out there. I've reviewed some. But the majority of the time, I have found it's intentional by the filmmakers. And also, by the way, my number one rule is just don't believe some schmo online, but do your own research on the film, how it was shot, what techniques were used for the film, and also the restoration work. Find out for yourself instead of just trusting and believing some schmo online telling you to avoid this or that at all costs. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's dive into the 4K UHD review of Red Eye. And we're going to compare it to the previous release DVD because there was no other option. There was no Blu-ray until now. And I know there's some of you out there saying, well, why are you comparing it to a DVD, something that's NTSC video? Obviously, the 4K will be better. Well, it's really just to show the vast improvements and the power behind 4K and what it's capable of. So let's get to it. We're comparing 4K UHD of Red Eye to the previous released Blu-ray. And the results are absolutely stunning. Paramount has done a beautiful cleanup job from top to bottom, giving Red Eye a flawless and immaculately detailed, razor-sharp image that stays very faithful to the source material without any artificial or manipulative sharpening done. The color reproduction on this is extraordinary, with the HDR and Dolby Vision helping to open up the color gamut, and also excellent saturation that's perfectly balanced that really helps in maintaining the balance between the vibrant Miami backdrops to the rather sterile and grayish surroundings of the airplane interior. Primary colors are rich and bold and much more lifelike, with bold cherry or crimson reds, yellows are vibrant, greens are lush and full, and blues are deep and natural, especially with the skyline over Miami. and also during scenes in Miami where we can see the deep blue of the ocean. The color depth is greatly improved here, with every area from well-lit elements to the darkest, densest shots that creates fuller and animated colors, giving the image an incredible amount of delineation. Black levels are outstanding, with deep inky blacks, deep velvety shadows that penetrate into the screen, and all this improves on depth without sacrificing fine object detail and scene clarity. Instead, the deeper blacks draw out much more information. Now, a huge reference point with this UHD is the detail levels. They are off the charts here, with fine lines and distinct finer details. Facial close-ups look incredible. We can now see every blemish, wrinkle, pores. Rachel McAdams' makeup, down to the beads of sweat and string of hair, stitching of clothing, stitching on airplane seats. Signs and lettering are clearly legible and in focus. Objects in the airport terminal are very active in the background, picking up on the smallest detail in objects, including patterns on walls and floors. And this happens from start to finish. We can even see smudges on poles and tables and dust. There is also an incredible amount of depth and three-dimensionality to the image that creates more of a claustrophobic feel while in the airplane. And during the Miami scenes, there's some nice spaciousness to the image now. And one of the best parts is that grain is also fully intact here. I give huge props to Paramount for not using any DNR scrubbing with this one. We have a very healthy, fine layer of grain that's very consistent throughout, having a natural and very welcome filmic appearance. And during my image analysis, the bitrate ranges between 75 and 90. Sometimes I even saw it spike up to 100 Mbps. Now, I did notice that while running the diagnostic on the image, there is a very brief second where I spotted some very minor negative damage in the bottom of the frame, which honestly I think is more likely due to inherited issues from the film stock. Again, it's a blink and you miss it type of deal, and it's not distracting at all from the viewing experience. Other than that, I didn't discover any noticeable or distracting dust or dirt or debris or any kind of other issues pertaining to compression artifacts. This is just an absolute gorgeous UHD presentation that I was really impressed with. Alright, now let's get into the audio, and the audio includes a new upgrade from its mediocre Dolby Digital 5.1 track that was on the DVD. Now we have a remastered DTS 5.1 lossless track sourced from the original theatrical mix, and it is outstanding. While the film is more front heavy, we still have plenty of activity in the surrounds. From Marco Beltrami's heavy, robust score that's dynamic and fills the soundstage, to the bustling airport terminal with people chatting, or the PA system in the background, and all the various atmospheric sounds. All comes to life and sounds clear and defined and completely immerses you in the film. There are also excellent low ends. The subwoofer rumbles and shakes as the plane takes off. Gunfire and the rocket launcher has a lot of weight and heft to them. Object placement is excellent throughout the soundstage, and dialogue is rendered crystal clear and distinct, including a couple instances of some off-screen dialogue. Alright, so my score for Paramount Pictures 4K UHD presentation of Red Eye, I'm giving the video a 4.5 out of 5 and the audio a 5 out of 5. And now it's safe to say you can take this, your old NTSC DVD that's outdated now, and throw it away, because this is an immaculate 4K UHD presentation, and the Blu-ray looks just as good. Alright, but now I want to hear from you. I want to hear your opinion on this. When you look at the differences here between the two formats, the DVD and the 4K, which do you think looks better? Let me know over in the comments. Alright guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me for a few minutes here and talking about Red Eye on 4K. As always, keep physical media alive, and I'll see you next time.